Danny Golding starts now.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
And the Giants have won. They have won the World Series for the third time in 5 years.
The road to redemption has brought the Warriors back home. The Golden State Warriors are the 2017 NBA champions.
Now your host, Danny Golden.
What is going down, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram? Welcome to another edition of Danny Golding TV. Oh, you know it, keeping the faith, JD. I got an official intro, got the new mic. We rolling. I want to welcome Skills as well into the chat. So, man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since the last time I did a show here on YouTube. And the last time that I did, in fact, do a show, I touched on the 49ers trading Deebo Samuel to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. Since then, the 49ers have made some moves and lost some players to free agency. Most notably, Drake Greenlaw, who, along with Nick Bosa, since 2019 has been the heart and soul of the 49ers defense. You could sense the impact that Drake Greenlaw had on the 49ers defense just from going back to Super Bowl 58 in Vegas, where the Niners were shutting out the Chiefs, and then Dre hurt his Achilles on the sidelines midway through the second quarter, which completely changed the game. The defense was able to hold the Chiefs to 3 points at the half, but when the third quarter rolled around, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs got back into the game, and the rest was history. I say, though, the most memorable play from Dre Greenlaw in his 49ers career was the goal line stance, Week 17, 2019 in Seattle, that clinched the NFC West and the number 1 seed for the 49ers, because if they had lost that Week 17 game, they would have not have been the first seed, or not have been the number 1 seed. They would not have had home field advantage, and they would have not had a first-round bye. So Drake Greenlaw's goal line stance against Justin Hollander completely changed the ending of the regular season and gave the 49ers home field advantage and clinched them, which ended up getting them to Super Bowl 54. Talanoa Hufanga also went to Denver on a 3-year, $45 million deal. The Niners also released Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd. And Jordan Mason gets traded to the Vikings along with a 6th-round pick this year in exchange for a 5th-round pick this year and a 6th-round pick next year. Now, Jordan Mason's departure, I'm not a big fan of. Not anywhere near the same level as Drake Greenlaw, of course, but with Christian McCaffrey absent for most of last season, Jordan Mason stepped up big time and made the Niner running game still dominant even without the 2023 leading scorer. The Niners will likely draft a running back in the later rounds of the draft, but hopefully Isaac Guerendo, who also had a decent year last year once he got into rhythm with the offense, is able to fill the role as well, as we don't know for sure whether CMC will be fully healthy by week 1 or if he's capable of having another elite season like he did after being traded to the 49ers in 2022 and for the entire 2023 season, as he's coming off bilateral Achilles tendonitis and a ligament injury as well. Remember, after scoring 14 rushing touchdowns in 2023, In the 4 games that he played in 2024, he did not score a single one. But hopefully CMC will be fully healthy and ready to go, and hopefully the Niners are also able to draft a good running back in the later rounds of the draft because they're going to have to focus on the offensive line with the 11th overall pick. I think it's a long shot, but it would be awesome if they could take Cam Skattebo from ASU, who I followed the most last season living in the Phoenix area despite not being a huge college football fan. Kyle Juszczyk, interestingly enough, was released on March 11th and then re-signed on March 19th to a 2-year, $8 million deal. Kyle is one of the longest tenured Niners, being with the team since 2017. I wasn't too upset about him being released at first, and it might not even be a popular take with a lot of people, but I am glad they were able to re-sign him to a short-term deal because not only is he a fan favorite that's played on 2 Super Bowl teams, even being the first ever Harvard alumni to score a touchdown in NFL history in Super Bowl 54, he knows Kyle Shanahan's offense well, and he's capable of making plays when needed, and his wife is a damn good fashion designer as well, designing outfits for Taylor Swift and shit. If Kyle were to retire, he wouldn't even miss much of his NFL paycheck. So not only not a huge move either way, but I guess it's cool that Kyle Juszczyk will remain a 49er. They also add wide receiver Demarcus Robinson, who won Super Bowl 54 with the Chiefs against the Niners and played the last couple of seasons with the Rams. With the departure of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk not likely to return coming off his right knee injury until midway through the season, most likely, that was definitely a good signing. Now, I went to look up Demarcus Robinson to do some more research on him, and hold up a second. Let me find this real quick. Hold up. Yeah, give me a second, everyone. Sorry about this. So I did some more research on Demarcus Robinson. I just Googled him, and this is what came up. Yeah, the last time I remember seeing Demarcus Robinson, he looked a lot different. He's looked a lot different. I don't know. Wait a second. Is that hot take, crazy take artist? Do I see right there? Do I see hot take troll artist who covers the Niners for Sports Illustrated, Grant Cohn? What? Grant, how did you become the official picture on Google of Demarcus Robinson? What? Grant Cohn. Come on. I know you like to stir up controversy, but damn, that's going a whole new level there. Wow. Guess that was maybe a lame attempt at humor, and definitely the execution when I took forever to find where I put the damn file didn't go so well. But whatever, we'll move on from that. So the most notable signing the 49ers made this offseason is that they have a new backup quarterback for Brock Purdy. They signed Mac Jones to a 2-year, $7 million contract. Now, if we turn back the clock 4 years ago to 2021, leading up to draft day, Mac Jones was listed by some draft experts as the likely candidate for the 49ers to draft, which of course made the fan base go crazy as they traded 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick for the number 3 overall pick when they originally had the number 12 overall pick. And due to Mac Jones's rankings, he was projected to likely be available at number 12, so all of the fan base is confused as to why they would trade up to number 3 just for Mac Jones when he would likely be available at number 12 anyway. And with Jimmy Garoppolo already being the Niners quarterback for years at that point, who's a very similar quarterback than Mac Jones was coming out of college, it just made absolutely no sense. But of course, the Niners instead draft Trey Lance, which of course did not end up going well, although it did make the fan base very excited. However, the surprise success of Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft a year later surely made up for it. Mac Jones did have a good rookie season with the Patriots with a passer rating of 92.5, throwing for 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He had an okay 2022 season, but then regressed significantly in his final season in New England in 2023 and last year in Jacksonville. But the biggest difference between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones is that last year, Brock had a 58% completion percentage on passes 10 yards or more, which led the NFL, when Mac, on the other hand, had a 35% completion percentage on passes 10 yards or more, which was second worst in the NFL. So hopefully Mac won't have to see the field next season in a meaningful situation. So that concludes all of the Niners moves in this offseason and the players that the Niners have lost, the notable players that the Niners have lost to free agency. But some notable moves throughout the rest of the NFL world this offseason. We saw former Niners backup quarterback Sam Darnold, who had a hell of a season with the Vikings last year, is going back to the NFC West as he signs a 3-year, $100 million deal with the Seahawks. And the previous Seahawks starting quarterback, Geno Smith, is reuniting with Pete Carroll and going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Justin Fields is going to the New York Jets. Russell Wilson, who actually had a pretty decent season last year with the Steelers after the shit show he had with the Broncos, is going to try to cook with the New York Giants. And Devontae Adams is going to be an LA Ram. So that is the moves in the NFL, the notable moves in the NFL this offseason. Oh, and shout out Skills in the chat. He points out that Elijah Mitchell also went to the Chiefs as well. He says these Lynch-era Niners get productive young backs who then invariably get hurt and go to other teams. Yep. That has been the case. I'll tell you what, besides Christian McCaffrey, man, Raheem Mostert, the year that he had in 2019, he'll forever be a Niners legend. I even got his jersey in the 2020 season only to have him go to Miami. I remember being excited when it was somehow rumored, even though I didn't think it would be likely that he might return, but that did not end up being the case. Appreciate you watching, Skills. And Skills, you have a YouTube channel as well. If you want to put that in the chat where people watching can subscribe, or live on Twitter and Instagram as well. Shout out to everyone watching on Instagram. Shout out Jacob Strom. Shout out my boy Steve. Steve watching as well. Thank you guys. appreciate it. If you would, you can go to YouTube, Danny Golding TV, and drop a like on that as well to improve the algorithm as well. But shout out to Cody as well for joining. Shout out Jacob Strom. Shout out my boy Steve from the Bay Area for watching as well. And it says we have 12 viewers on X, aka Twitter, which I feel like a lot of them are just bots, because whenever I go live and I also have my stream go to Twitter, I see a whole bunch of views and I'm like, are those real views or are those just bots? But hopefully we have some legit people watching on X, aka Twitter as well. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit and get into the Golden State Warriors, who have a lot banking on tomorrow's game against the Los Angeles Clippers at Chase Center. If they're able to secure the win, they will clinch the 6th seed in the West. And if they lose, they will have to go through the play-in tournament to get into the regular season, which they are currently 0-3 in. Now, I think avoiding the play-in tournament and giving the Warriors a week off before the postseason will have a major advantage for this slightly fatigued older team. But man, the Warriors have had so much success since the addition of Jimmy Butler back on February 6th. After starting the season 12-3, the Warriors had an up and down season and were 25-26 and in 11th place when they made the trade. And it was somewhat controversial as well, because remember, Jimmy Butler was coming off a very rough ending in Miami where he was suspended 3 times in the month of January alone for conduct detrimental to the team. He had requested a trade from the Heat after playing with them since 2019. He had missed the team flight in a game, team flight to Milwaukee, not too long before that, in January. So he had many recent distractions with him altogether. He had publicly stated his intention was to go to Phoenix, but he wanted a contract extension, which is why he initially did not want to go to Golden State, as he didn't expect to get one there. But after the 5-team trade on February 6th, it sent Andrew Wiggins to the Heat. Jimmy Butler goes to the Warriors, and then he declines his player option for next season and signs a 2-year, $121 million extension. And then the Warriors are 23-7 and are the hottest team in the NBA since making that trade. Draymond Green, doing commentary for TNT during the All-Star game in San Francisco, stated right after the Butler trade that the Warriors are going to win the NBA title this year, which seemed like an unrealistic pipe dream at the time, despite, you wanting your star player to have that confidence. But, it still did not seem realistic. I mean, you love hearing it from Draymond, and even if that didn't happen, you would hope that he would still, be saying that as well. But since then, it has turned from a pipe dream to a very distinct possibility. The Warriors in the month of April itself have had many statement wins, beating the Grizzlies 134-125, led by Steph Curry's 52 points. Ja Morant also acted like a dumbass in that game, doing a gun salute celebration after being suspended multiple times for gun-related incidents. They beat the Lakers 123-116 on April 3rd in LA, where Brandon Pajemski put on some magic shoes or something because he barely missed any shot that night. 118-104 against the Nuggets on April 4th, which, speaking of the Nuggets, how about head coach Michael Malone being fired last week by the team just 2 seasons after winning the NBA championship? Wow. They lose last Sunday against the Rockets 106-96. And I was in attendance on Tuesday in Phoenix where the Warriors blew out the Suns, who are having a very disappointing season, 133-95, which I'll share my screen real quickly. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, so I was at the game in Phoenix on Tuesday, and I uploaded this short from that. Zoom hella good on the S25 Ultra, by having nosebleed seats. On Thursday night, though, I think it was on Wednesday night, they lose to the Spurs on a buzzer beater by former Warrior, the legend, the Black Falcon, Harrison Barnes, as the PA announcer used to say, as Harrison Barnes, game winner, hands the Warriors a costly loss to the Spurs, 114-111. Last night, though, they blow out the Portland Trailblazers 103-86. However, Steph Curry re-injures his thumb, which, despite the x-rays being negative, is questionable for tomorrow's game, which means that, of course, he will play with this game being as significant as it is, but he will not be 100%, and hopefully the Warriors will have enough decent leads for Steve Kerr to be able to limit Steph's minutes. But going back to Jimmy Butler, I wanted to touch on something interesting that I read in The Athletic, courtesy of Anthony Slater, on an article that he wrote on March 24th. Now, Jimmy Butler was drafted in 2011 by the Chicago Bulls, and the current Warriors general manager, Mike Dunleavy Jr., who was, of course, also drafted by the Warriors with the third overall pick in 2002, joined the Bulls as a veteran presence in 2013. Dunleavy at that time told Butler that he was on a star trajectory, and after that season, in the 2014 offseason, the Bulls offered Jimmy Butler a 4-year, $44 million extension, which Jimmy declined in order to show he was worth more. Mike Dunleavy's inside information on that partly drove his decision to trade for and extend Jimmy Butler. So Mike Dunleavy has been criticized a lot as a general manager, and he's in an incredibly tough position taking over for Bob Myers, the best general manager in franchise history with 4 championship rings under his belt. That's not an easy position for anybody to be in at all. And he was also criticized for not trading for Lauri Markkanen last offseason, and was criticized before the trade deadline for not making a move when the Warriors were struggling. But he made the clutch move that was needed, trading for his former teammate Jimmy Butler and then extending him, and the Warriors going in to tomorrow's final regular season game of the 2024-2025 season are 23-7 since landing Jimmy Butler. Oh, you are all good skills. Yes, Slates. Shout out to Anthony Slater. I mean, and that's a good read for sure. It's an article that he wrote back on March 14th or March 24th. Excuse me. Because Jimmy Butler in 2014 declined the extension so he could later become a restricted free agent and get even more money. And then in 2019, signed a big 5-year deal with the Miami Heat, which unfortunately did not, well, I guess fortunately for the Warriors, but, unfortunately for that whole situation, did not end up going well. And even then, I was like, damn, I did not want Jimmy Butler back. I mean, I especially did not want him because a few days before it was rumored that Kevin Durant was going to come back to the Warriors, and then he, later said he did not want to go back to Golden State. A lot of people suspected, maybe Draymond, maybe did not want to play with Draymond, maybe he does not like Draymond, maybe him and Draymond don't have a good relationship. But hey, he did go on Draymond Green's podcast, so I guess later on, which shows that he at least respects Draymond as a person and considers him a friend. But that's he still might not want to go to play with him. But him saying he did not want to move. Katie saying he did not want to move. He did not want to go to the Warriors. He did not want to move again. I thought that was absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean, for a player, like Jimmy Butler, who in that exact same article, it talks about how he had to separate from the team a little bit, not missing any games, of course, but missing, some, not traveling with the team, traveling by himself to Miami a few days before the rest of the team did, so he could, because his kids were still in Miami, and he wanted to spend time with them. But Kevin Durant is single, does not have any kids, and he's already moved so many times throughout the season in his career, so that was just absolutely ridiculous. But I think the reason why Kevin Durant would not want to go back to Golden State is because he would never want to be considered the second fiddle of winning the team. He would never want to, if he were to win a ring, which likely would have about a 95% chance of happening if you got Kevin Durant back on the Warriors, he would want to prove he can win a championship without Stephen Curry. And that's something that he has yet to prove. He has not, because he has not done that in his career. And skills, like he says, Durant surprisingly didn't get much crap slung at him for choosing to stay with the free-falling Suns rather than go to a team that still had a chance. I mean, that is true. I mean, I do give him props for that as well. He wanted, he'll likely go somewhere else during the offseason, but I'm glad he was able to, if he wasn't going to go to the Warriors, that he was able to ride it out with the Suns for the rest of the year, who got officially eliminated for the playoffs a couple days ago. Shout out to everyone watching on Instagram as well. Let's see, Gage Kenny and Brittany Carlson joined. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate you watching. Again, if you go to the official YouTube version of this stream, youtube.com/@DannyGoldingTV. If you could drop a like to improve the algorithm, that would help me a lot. But before I get into the anniversaries and crazy stories segment, the final segment of the show, how about the San Francisco Giants starting off the season 10-4? They started off the season taking 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds, where on opening day, Wilmer Flores had a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th that pretty much sealed the deal after the Giants were previously down 3-0. Then they swept the Astros in Houston, the home opener on April 4th against the Seattle Mariners. Willie Adames had a walk-off 2-run single with 2 outs in the 11th inning. The Giants ended up sweeping the Mariners in that series, and on the final game of that series last Sunday, Wilmer Flores gets a game-winning single in the bottom of the 9th, but right before that happens, Mariners outfielder Victor Robles made the most incredible catch that I've seen in the 25-year history of Oracle Park, formerly Pac Bell Park, formerly AT&T Park, dashing for a foul ball in the netting in foul territory in right field, where he injures his right shoulder and is carted off the field. Let me actually show my screen real quickly and pull that up real quick. And man, incredible catch, which wasn't even necessary, as you know, it would have been a foul ball anyway. But I mean, what a clutch catch! He gets cut off the field. And Skills points out Nolan Arenado's catch at Oracle from 2015. I'm gonna actually share my screen again. Let me find that first, then I'm gonna share my screen again and find that. Hold on. Because I want to see that as well. I don't actually remember that, so let me find that. There we go. Okay, actually, let me go to this one. Now that's a damn good catch, and I think I do kind of remember that now. But I would have to say the Victor Robles. Sorry, I have trouble pronouncing his name. I don't know why I was pronouncing it. I feel like I was pronouncing his name when I was prepping for this show, but now that when I'm actually live, I'm like, I don't know why I'm not pronouncing his name right. But Victor Robles from the Mariners, I think that catch was the best catch in the history of the ballpark in San Francisco, in my opinion. Robles, there we go. Victor Robles, as hopefully he's blessed and has made a speedy recovery from that right shoulder injury, because that was pretty scary. And thank you, Skills, for the correct pronunciation, as I was having a mispronunciation sensation with that. So the Giants then lose 2 out of 3 to the Reds and are currently playing a 3-game series right now in the Bronx against the New York Yankees. Yesterday, before the game was called due to rain, the Giants were up 9-1, which started in the first inning where Jung-Hoo Lee hits a 3-run homer, and the Giants end up having a 5-run inning. They lose today 8-4, but man, don't sleep on the Giants. It's early, but the Giants currently are in second place in the NL West, with the Padres being atop the West at 12-3. And yes, I know it's most likely not going to last because the Dodgers, man, fuck the Dodgers. But they got a stacked team. They're projected to repeat as World Series champions. But right now, the Giants have a better record at 10-4 than the Dodgers do at 11-5, and they are a game ahead of them. We'll see how long that lasts. Ka-ching, yes. Shout out Tim Roy, shout out Dan Dibley, shout out Mark Willard, and thank you, Skills, for catching on to that. Okay, let's move on to the final segment of the show.
It's now time for anniversaries.
Happy anniversary.
And crazy stories.
It was crazy.
On the Gold with Danny Golding.
All right. Anniversaries and crazy stories. Let's go. Now, the first one comes from not too long ago, back on March 25th. China-bound United flight turns around after pilot forgets his passport. Yes. A United Airlines Boeing 787 jetliner flying from Los Angeles to Shanghai had to turn around last weekend after it was discovered that one of the pilots had taken off without a passport. The airline told CNN in a statement. United Flight 198 departed LAX around 2 p.m. Saturday, March 22nd, with 257 passengers and 13 crew on board, and headed northwest over the Pacific Ocean, bound for China's largest city. About 2 hours later, the plane turned around and was redirected to San Francisco, where it landed around 5 p.m. local time. The pilot did not have their passport on board, United said in a statement. We arranged for a new crew to take our customers to their destination that evening. Customers were provided with meal vouchers and compensation. The flight with the new crew took off around 9 p.m. and landed in Shanghai about 6 hours behind schedule. A Chinese passenger told CNN that she heard the pilot's very frustrated voice over the intercom saying he forgot his passport. And after landing in San Francisco, the passenger they interviewed received 2 meal vouchers totaling $30, which she used for a meal at a Japanese restaurant in the airport. Man, could you imagine that? Could you imagine you're on a flight from LA to China and you have to turn around because your pilot forgets his passport? I mean, just absolutely how crazy is that? Like, what? I mean, that was ridiculous. When I was preparing to do a stream, I saw that, and man, wow. Washington Reagan National Airport has had many incidents in 2025. Of course, on January 29th, the fatal midair collision over the Potomac River between the American Eagle CRJ landing and the Black Hawk helicopter, which is the first major commercial airline accident in 16 years, and the worst aviation accident since 2001. So that happened on January 29th, and then April 10th, not too long, just a couple days ago, there was a taxiway collision involving members of Congress. 2 American Airlines planes clipped the rings while taxiing at DCA Airport. One aircraft carrying several U.S. House members, including Representatives Nick LaLota and Grace Meng, was stationary when the incident occurred. No injuries were reported, but the event intense scrutiny over aviation safety and FAA staffing levels. On March 27th, an altercation happened in the air traffic control tower, and an air traffic control supervisor at DCA physically assaulted a colleague during a dispute in the control tower, prompting others to intervene. The incident raised concerns about workplace conditions and safety oversight within the FAA. Man, how much bad luck can one airport have? I mean, if you're going to fly into Washington, D.C., fly into Dulles Airport or BWI, Baltimore, Washington, because that airport is absolutely bad luck. And I don't ever want to plan to fly into that airport. Like, man, I mean, how do you have so many incidents within the span of a few months at just one airport? Wow. The next thing I have is Cory Booker speaks for 25 years old. What the hell, Alexa? I wasn't talking to you. Why did you go off? That was weird. From March 31st to April 1st, Cory Booker, the Democratic senator from New Jersey, delivered a speech to protest the second presidency of Donald Trump and the operations of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, which was the longest reported speech in the United States Senate history. Booker began speaking at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on March 31st and concluded at 8:05 p.m. on April 1st, 2025. The speech lasted 25 hours and 5 minutes, surpassing the previous longest recorded speech in Senate history. Strom Thurmond 24-hour and 18-minute long filibuster of the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Which I believe he was not in favor of the Civil Rights Act. So that's very cool. Cory Booker breaks a record for a good reason. He's now has a good speech to make up for a speech that was against the Civil Rights Act in 1957. Cory Booker now has the longest speech in U.S. Senate history. And I screenshotted something actually about that, where he says that he didn't have to go to the restroom for over 25 hours because he hadn't eaten anything since Friday and stopped drinking water on Sunday. He intentionally dehydrated himself. Could you imagine speaking for 25 straight hours? I mean, that's got to be insane. Like, wow. So last month, a significant security breach occurred within the Trump administration when Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and other top officials discussed classified military plans in a Signal group chat that inadvertently included a journalist. The group chat was created by National Security Advisor Michael Waltz to coordinate U.S. airstrikes against rebels in Yemen. Participants included Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Due to an error, Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, was added to the chat and remained unnoticed as officials discuss sensitive operational details. On March 15th, Hegseth shared specific information about planned airstrikes, including target locations, timing, and weaponry. Wow. I mean, how do you manage to fuck that up? I mean, that's... I don't know, but that is absolutely hilarious. The fact that a journalist, it just gets added into a group chat where they're planning war plans. They're planning to bomb Yemen, and they just happen to see that in a group chat. So that's like when Baron Davis used to go stand in the Lakers huddles during timeouts. Man, Baron Davis is one of my all-time favorite warriors. I love the fact that Baron Davis is doing the podcast with Draymond Green, which I've heard a few episodes of it. I got to listen to more of it as well. And Skills also was like, what the fuck, 25 hours? I can't go for more than 2 or 3 hours most of the time. That fool got iron organs. Oh man, absolutely. When I first followed it because it had said that he had broken already some record at that point back when it was probably way less than 24 hours. And I remember just seeing the cover, like seeing it on all the social media outlets. And then later at night, or when it's about to be dark, when it's like 4 p.m., I see he's finally concluding his speech. Like, wow. That's just amazing. And so we got the A's shit show in Sacramento. Yes, the A's, the formerly Oakland A's, are supposed to play for the next couple seasons in Sacramento at the Sutter Health Field, which is a stadium for the Sacramento River Cats, the Giants AAA affiliate, which has just been an absolute shit show. I mean, they've been screwed over by their owner, the A's fans have been screwed over by their owner, John Fisher, for years. I feel like they also kind of got screwed over by the city of Oakland for not wanting to build a stadium. But I got kind of an unpopular take on this. I think Sacramento would be a good permanent home for the A's, but that will also never happen. And I have a feeling that the Las Vegas move, because there hasn't been any official deal that has been done. There's been renderings of a stadium at the old Tropicana site where I actually stayed at the Tropicana Hotel recently before it got torn down just a year ago, and then about a year and a half ago as well. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is where they're doing the press conferences for the in a shed. Like, look at that. They're literally doing press conferences in a shed that looks like a garden shed. I mean, just an absolute shit show in Sacramento. I mean, all of the opposing players are like so dumbfounded about having to play at a minor league stadium. And, I feel bad for, the loyal A's fans, because I know they deserve better. So hopefully John Fisher is able to sell the team, and then maybe a new owner can buy them that can actually build them a stadium in NorCal and Sacramento, because there's no way that the city of Oakland is going to approve of them to build a stadium. But I have a feeling that the Las Vegas deal is not going to go down. So for the final part of this, the anniversaries and crazy stories, this is the month of April, and there's been some April Fool's jokes, of course, that always take place on April 1st. And I even had a pretty damn good one. Actually, I was going to upload it. I forgot to upload it to my computer, but I'll just show it off my phone. On April 1st, some of my coworkers, I don't know if any of them are watching on the Instagram stream, but they put saran wrap on my car. Which that was that's a pretty damn good April Fool's joke. So shout out to my coworkers for that. But I wanted to go into, like, what are some of the most notable April Fool's jokes in history, or in the sports world, as we'll go to that. And here's one that YouTube did back in 2012 that I remember seeing that I thought I would share with you guys. And shout out to Where You're Hiding as well.
Since our founding in 2005, we at YouTube have continually strived to bring you the best possible video experience on the internet. But that is all about to change. Our latest innovation gives you a way to literally hold YouTube in your hand. Introducing the YouTube Collection on DVD. It's the complete YouTube experience, completely offline. Enjoying YouTube videos has never been easier. With the YouTube Collection, DVDs have been conveniently organized into a system of nested modules. Simply navigate through the modules until you find the DVD of your choice. Each DVD menu is populated with video thumbnails. Just like on YouTube.com, you can select your playback resolution. And yes, full screen mode is available if desired. The YouTube Collection doesn't require the internet, but you don't lose interactivity. Just fill out the comment form and place it in one of the self-addressed stamped envelopes. Don't forget to throw in a green thumbs up or a red thumbs down. Your feedback will be sent directly to the creator of that particular video, so you can maintain the dialogue that you're used to. The YouTube Collection isn't just a sampling of YouTube, it's all of YouTube. Every YouTube video uploaded ever. As soon as you sign up, we'll dispatch a fleet of 175 YouTube trucks to your home. Your nested video modules will arrive securely shrink-wrapped on pre-categorized pallets. If you live on a steep grade or in an area with low overpasses, your DVDs will be delivered by Pack Mule. Since approximately an hour of video is uploaded to YouTube every second, you'll receive a new truckload every week. And if you sign up now, we'll give the entire DVD library to a friend or relative of your choice, totally free. Visit youtube.com/the YouTube Collection. Order now and select from a number of free add-ons, including trending videos on Laserdisc, royalty-free soundtracks on vinyl, or weatherproof exterior DVD shelving for when your collection gets too large for the inside of your home. Order the YouTube Collection on DVD. Simple, economical, convenient. A whole new way to enjoy the videos you love.
Yes, I remember seeing that back when I was 15 in 2012, and that is still stuck with me as one of the best, the funniest creative April Fool's jokes I've seen. Shout out to Where You're Hiding and Papa J. Papa J, I always see you in John Lund's live streams. Thank you for stopping by here. It means a lot. He says San Antonio and Austin need a baseball team. Maybe the A's can go there. Well, actually, one of the things, what I've heard mostly suggested is Nashville, actually. And I think, New Orleans would be a good city for one as well. I think Austin, Austin's a really cool city from what I hear, but Texas already has two teams. And I guess they already have three NBA teams. So, that's not out of the question, but I don't know. It's hard to see that, but who knows? What I wish that the Rays, I don't know, it wouldn't be good for the division alignments, but I wish that the Tampa Bay Rays, who are also playing in a minor league park this year in Tampa, I wish that they would move to Vegas and then the A's could stay in Sacramento. But you would have to do some division realignments for that, or you would have to keep the Rays in the East, even with them being in Vegas, which might not work. And where you're hiding, yes, that would have worked in the 90s. But man, could you imagine that? That would be like having DVD, every single video uploaded to YouTube being on DVD, and then comments in the mail and thumbs up and thumbs down. I mean, I just love the creativity of that. That's just awesome to see. Another April Fool's joke that's very popular is Mark Cuban, and I'm not sure what year this was. I believe this was in the early 2000s. He attacked the referee and made it look real, but it turned out it was just an April Fool's joke. Let's take a look.
There he goes in.
Check your calendar. Check your calendar. Remember, it is April Fool's.
I'm not sure Dell knows anything about it. Dell didn't. Naked gun. 27-26, the Mavericks lead the Hornets, but check this out. Mark Cuban and one of the officials getting into it here. Oh, my goodness. WrestleMania 3 is busted out here. Line center. I have a hunch, guys, that this might be an April Fool's type guy. And Del Harris was not aware of it. Look at Del.
Somebody did tell Del.
Oh, goodness. Del
Wow.
Del didn't get the memo. Del was reeled in on that one. Oh, that's funny.
He got it now.
That is funny. I don't think the officials thought it was funny, though.
Yeah, where you're hiding says he remembers that. Do you remember what year that was, where you're hiding? Because, I mean, I was born in 97. I didn't even start watching sports until pretty much 07, maybe very end of 06. So I didn't start watching sports until I was, later, until I was 10 years old, which, to be honest, I wish that I, of course, had watched it before that. But I can tell that was probably the early 2000s. And that's what I remember the most about Mark Cuban, though. The first time that I remember seeing him is in the 07 We Believe playoffs, where the Warriors, of course, the 8th seed, upset the number 1 seeded Mavericks. I just remember it was game 3 in Dallas. I just remember seeing, actually, my bad. That would have been game 1 or game 2, because, of course, the Mavericks would have had home field or home court advantage. Yeah, that would have been, I think it was game 1 or 2. You just saw Mark Cuban on this sitting courtside, just being absolutely pissed off. I mean, that's my first memory of Mark Cuban. And speaking of Mark Cuban, there's also something from him this past week. Of course, Luka Doncic played against the Mavericks for the first time after being traded to the Lakers in what some are considering the worst trade in NBA history by Mavericks GM Nico Harrison. Now, Mark Cuban is no longer an owner of the team at all, but he was sitting courtside, and he had an uncomfortable reaction to seeing all the fans chant to fire Nico. Take a look. Man, and I mean, Nico Harrison deserves all that, for making that trade. But man, you also got to feel bad for the guy as well. And man, Mark Cuban just looked absolutely uncomfortable with that. And yeah, Skill says likely 2002 to 2003 when that April Fool's joke was happening. So shout out to everyone watching on Instagram. I see Alora, welcome, and she says, "Go Danny, let's go." Shout out Khalifa Main and my friend Emma that joined as well. I see Ashley 5784 just joined. So if you're watching on Instagram, just do me a favor if you would, go on to the YouTube portion of the show, Danny Golding TV on YouTube, and just drop a like to improve the algorithm of this podcast. So I think we're gonna probably call it a night, but if anyone has anything else in the chat that they would like to say, just let's see, where are you hiding? See about Tim Duncan getting ejected for laughing. Was it an April Fool's joke? But yeah, I appreciate everyone watching. We're gonna try to do some more shows soon with the Warriors with the playoff run. If they can beat the Mavericks, if they can have the Mavericks on my mind with all the stuff about Mark Cuban and Nico Harrison and that April Fool's joke and all that, I got the Mavericks on my mind. But no, the Warriors are playing the Clippers tomorrow at Chase Center, and if they win that, I believe they either clinch the 6th seed itself or can be no worse than the 6th seed if they get the win. But if they lose, they will have to go into the play-in tournament where they'll have 2 shots to stay alive in the playoffs. And the Warriors are right now 0-3 in play-in tournaments, despite the fact that they won a title just the following year after losing the first time they played in the play-in. So the play-in definitely does not have good luck for the Warriors. And like I said earlier, this team, the slightly older, slightly fatigued team, could definitely use the week off of not having to go into the play-in tournament. But yeah, shout out to Skill, shout out to Papa J, shout out to Keeping the Faith JD, who checked in a little bit at the beginning of the show. Appreciate everyone for watching. We will be on here doing some streams again sometime soon. And as we conclude the Gold with Danny Golding, remember the golden rule: treat other people the way they want to be treated. Peace.